This is week 2, as I mentioned, and week 2 is the second chakra, which is Swadhisthana, or the center of preference, creativity, primal creativity, sexuality, sensuality. It's a whole list of them here. Anytime we delate in the senses, but to kind of ground it for us for this particular class, I'm going to keep it as the center of preference. Okay, so just some attributes about Swadhisthana, or the second energy center, is that the color for it is orange. The the sensate for it is taste. The element is water. And the sound, or the bija mantra for it, is VAM, V-A-M. It's not VAM, it's like the word van, it's VAM. It's VAM. It's almost like it's an U in there. And we'll use that a little bit in our closing meditation tonight. So I'll remind you of what that is a little bit later on. So this is the center of preference. When we're out of balance with the second chakra, we can feel, it's when we suffer, to be honest. You know, if it's not related to our food, shelter, water, safety of the first chakra, and it's not related to like no willpower or no courage of the third chakra, which we'll talk about next week, it usually falls into here. A lot of the egoism that we get caught up in our lives, misidentification of who we are, forgetting kind of like that we have uh, of where we've come from. A lot of that comes from the second chakra. So one of the biggest preferences that can cause suffering in our systems is the preference of comfort versus discomfort. I would say like all other preferences probably fall into this, other than if something's dangerous. And that usually falls into first chakra. So when we're in second chakra, we like to we like to be comfortable. We have an attachment to comfort, and we have an aversion toward discomfort. Now, what happens often when we get triggered into discomfort is that we trigger into our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response, which that's not what it's built for. Our sympathetic nervous system is built for chakra number 1. If we're in danger, if we're being chased by a tiger, if our food, shelter, water safety is threatened, that is when our sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, collapse response comes in. But we tend to bring it in when we're just uncomfortable sometimes, and especially in the world we're living in right now, not to get too like present with some stuff, there's a lot to be uncomfortable about. And sometimes it is our actual safety that is at threat. And sometimes it's just we're really uncomfortable. And can we separate those two? We can have discernment between those two. And can we dissolve the attachment to comfort or the aversion to discomfort? And that is really what this class, what this understanding of Swadhisthana chakra is all about. It's dissolving that duality so that we don't become, wretched folk just because we're uncomfortable. So that is what we're going to go for tonight, making sure I didn't miss anything here. Oh, the location. So it's located at the very tip of the tailbone. So just off the tip of the tailbone, and which is, barely a couple millimeters or centimeters above the first chakra. So sometimes when we're working with one, we end up working with the other. But tonight it will be the tip of the tailbone. I'll keep bringing your awareness back to that. It's the color orange. I've talked enough. Let's go ahead and jump in. So please sit tall. Get comfortable. Welcome, everybody that I have not said hi to. Glad to have you here. And relax your shoulders down your back. Feel the crown of the head lift toward the ceiling. Take a couple of deep breaths in and out. As you allow the mouth to close and the breath to become steady in the nostrils, bring your awareness down to the tip of the tailbone. And then the little bit of space, just a hair in front of that tip. And there you'll find Swadhisthana, the center of preference. You might imagine an orange ball of light there. or just be sensitive to that region. Not just the physical body, but the psychic body as well, the energetic body as well. And as you're focusing on this point, you might just become aware of how lately you have been swayed by your personal preference. So again, this isn't, aversion to danger. It's just aversion to discomfort or attachment to comfort. Maybe we've been cooped up and that feels uncomfortable. We feel triggered by that. No shame for that. We're just identifying and being aware of these at this point. Maybe you've been overworked, maybe feeling some anxiety. Some of that might be safety related, some of it just might be preferential. Maybe you really miss eating in restaurants. Just notice what it is that you have been attached to from a comfort perspective or aversive to from a discomfort perspective. And have compassion for that. Like, have so much compassion for that. So much beauty can be had in the world by having preferences. But where it comes in to the region of suffering is when we suffer from not having our preferences met. We can have preferences, but do you suffer when they're not met? Or can you be okay with them not being met? That'll be our exploration tonight. So keep holding your awareness at that orange light off the tip of the tailbone, and let's chant Om 3 times. Deep breath. Om. Bring your palms to your heart and lower your chin, and to honor yourself as you are in this moment, this body, breath, energy, and mind, and all that comes with that awareness. Because it's in service to that we'll practice tonight, in addition to exploring this second energy center. Go ahead and rub the palms together, creating heat. And take the heated palms over your eyes. And then brush back over the top of the head, down the neck, bringing yourself back to your space. All right, so let's start off on hands and knees, please. Table pose. And you may want to have a folded blanket underneath your knees. We're going to be on the knees for a little bit here, so this is the kind of comfort you can bring in if you need to. See? All right, hands underneath the shoulders, knees beneath the hips or slightly further back. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, child's pose. Good. Inhale back up to hands and knees. And exhale, child's pose. Let's just continue to move between these two postures here, okay? Starting to warm up the body, the spine, the hips, the shoulders. We're also starting to link your breath and your movement, your action and your intention. And also, when you move with your breath, it's helping to regulate your nervous system. So if you feel like you are kind of living in that fight or flight, freeze, collapse response, this will help bring you out of it. It'll also help lift up any stuck energy, any lethargy, apathy, feelings of sadness or depression. Let's do a few more rounds. Inhale up. Exhale back. One more time. Good. And then inhale up to hands and knees. Good. I've turned on my mat, but you can keep facing the way that you're facing, hands under the shoulders, knees beneath your hips. And go ahead and step your right foot out to the side. Now the leg is in line with both hip bones, so not too far forward or back. And the right side of the right foot, the pinky edge is grounding to the floor. Good. Now from here, you're going to turn the tailbone toward the ceiling. So lift the hips behind you and keep that tailbone lifting as you glide backwards. You'll feel a stretch on the inner thigh here, and then inhale, come back up. Exhale, glide backwards. Inhale, come back up. Let's do a few more. Keep the tailbone engaging. That means lifting toward the sky behind you. And keep the right side of the right foot grounding as well. Good. One more time, please. Exhale, glide back and go ahead and stay. Again, tailbone lifting toward the ceiling. Breathe. And just notice what's there. Breathe into any sensation, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable. And with our practice tonight, much like last week, we'll be working with the hips, because the hips are great for teaching us the difference between comfort and discomfort, and the difference between discomfort and danger. We'll get to all that later. Now we'll just warm them up. Inhale back up. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee, sink down into the hip. So sink to the side. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Exhale, bend the right knee, sink on in again. And inhale, straighten the leg. Let's keep going. Exhale, sink in. Inhale, straighten the leg. We're just working the hip out in a different way now. Good. Let's do one more, please. And exhale, bend the right knee. Go ahead and stay in the pose here. Good. So a couple of things can happen. The first, if you need for support, you can walk your hands to the right, or you can just keep them where they were at. The second is to not drop the chest here, but to try to keep the hips and your heart on the same level plane. And of course, keep the right knee bending as much as you can. Good. Inhale, straighten the right leg. Go ahead and step it in. And child's pose, feel the difference between the two sides of your body. And then we'll go ahead and balance sensation. So go ahead and come back up, hands and knees, and step the left leg out to the side. So again, the leg is in line with both hip bones, not too far forward or back, and you're grounding through the left side of that left foot. Hands under the shoulders, and lift the tailbone. Pop the butt toward the ceiling, and then go ahead and glide backwards. And then inhale, glide back up. Exhale, glide backwards. And inhale, glide back up. Let's do about 3 or 4 more, moving on your breath. Exhale, gliding back. Inhale, lifting. And again, the real alignment cue here is to keep the tailbone lifting. I'm going to say it probably a couple more times before we're through here. But that keeps you in the pose. Good. Let's do one more. As you glide back this time, go to your furthest point and stay. And breathe. Again, tailbone lifting. Good. Inhale, come back up. Stay for an exhale. And then we'll go into the second practice. Deep breath in. And exhale, bend your left knee. Sink into that hip. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, bend the left knee. Sink on in. Inhale, back up. Let's do a few more. This is where it's probably good to have that blanket underneath your knee. Inhale, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the knee. Let's do one more time, please. In and out. Then as you bend the left knee this time, go ahead and stay. The same micro adjustments can be made. You can walk the hands to the left if you'd like to. Then also keep the chest and the hips on the same level plane. You'll see why later. We're building towards something. Good. One more breath. And inhale, straighten the left leg. Go ahead and step it on in. Child's pose again. Adjust. Feeling sensation. Good. Then from child's pose, go ahead and slither forward down onto your belly. Coming all the way down. However is easiest for you. And have your hands underneath your shoulders, elbows bent. And with your next inhale, roll the shoulders down the back, pull the heart and head away from the floor. Good. Cobra pose. Exhale, release down, turn the head to a side. Let's do that again. Roll the shoulders down the back, lift the head and the chest. Cobra. Exhale, release, turn the head to the other side. Let's do 3 more. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. We're going to hold it this time. So go ahead and come on up and feel your hands gripping the floor or your mat. Instead of thinking about pulling the floor, pushing the floor forward, think about pulling it toward you. Feel the triceps engage as you lift the heart away from the floor. Elbows stay bent. And breathe. Good. Deep breath in. And exhale, float on down. Curl the toes under. Good. Pick up the hips just a little bit so you can push up the hands and knees. And let's lift the hips into the air, downward facing dog. Good. So it's our first down dog of the night. Go ahead and walk it out a bit. Press the heel to the floor and bend the opposite knee. Breathing length into the legs and into your spine. We're still getting warmed up here, so you might notice tightness in your body, maybe soreness. Just notice what's there for you. One more deep breath in and out. Good. Then inhale, come forward through your spine into plank pose, straight line push up. And with your exhale, bend your elbows in towards your waist and plank yourself down to the floor. Release the feet. So now we'll work with Shalabhasana, locust pose. So feel the hips grounding into the earth. Take an exhale and push them down. Then inhale, lift the head, chest, and your legs away from the floor. Exhale, float down, turn your head to a side. Let's do this again. Inhale, lift the head, chest, and the legs. Exhale, release down, turn the head to the other side. We're gonna do 3 more. Inhale, locust, head, chest, and legs lift. Exhale, release, turn the head. 2 more times. Inhale. And you guessed it, we're gonna hold this last round. Come on up. Take the shoulders down the back, look forward with your heart. Inner thighs are lifting behind you. Pelvis is grounding still. Elbows are still bent. And we're breathing, hopefully. Squeeze up a little bit higher. Stay for 2 more breaths. Really feel the lower back working here. Inhale to your highest point. Don't collapse. Exhale slowly. Release on down. Turn the head. Take an adjusting breath here. All right. Curl the toes under. 2 options. You can push up to hands and knees to down dog, or if you'd like to, you can lift the knees first and plank up and back to downward facing dog. Either way, downward facing dog. Take an adjusting breath when you get here. All right, in down dog, lift your right leg high into the air behind you. As you lift the right leg high, allow the left heel to sink toward the earth, spreading the feet in opposite directions. Good. Now, keeping the right leg lifted, go ahead and bend the right knee, the leg in the air, and take the heel back behind you, stacking your right hip on top of the left. And then see how high you can lift the right knee into the air. Two more breaths. Really lift that right knee up. Good. And then carefully bring the right foot down. Inhale to plank pose. Exhale, plank down to the earth. Good. Locust rise, head, chest, and legs lift, pelvis grounding. Exhale, release. Curl the toes under. And downward facing dog. Getting there as you know how. Good. Doing the other side of that exercise. Left leg lifts. And as the left leg lifts, feel the right heel sink toward the earth. So you're spreading the feet. And then bend the left knee, the leg in the air, and take the heel back behind you, stacking the left hip over the right and lifting that left knee as high as you can into the air behind you. Deep breaths. Keep lifting. One more breath. Good. And then go ahead and bring the foot on down. Inhale, float down onto hands and knees. Exhale, child's pose. Seat to the heels, forehead to the floor. Take about 3 breaths here. Feeling length in your back body, especially your lower back if you're feeling anything there right now. All right, continuing on. Inhale back up to hands and knees. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. And with your exhale, swing or carry step the right foot between your hands. Help it through all the way forward. And back knee releases to the floor. Inhale, lift your arms up, coming into a crescent lunge. Interlace the fingers and bring the hands on top of the right thigh. Good. Now feel the hips sinking down and forward here. And we're going to do a little bit of work to get deeper into the hips. So left toes are curled under, the back toes. With your inhale, lift the back knee. Now exhale, carefully put it down. That's the hard part. Inhale, lift the back knee again. And exhale, bring the knee back down. We're going to do a few more. And if you're feeling unstable here, you can have the fingertips on the ground and do it here. Inhale, knee lifts. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Last one. Inhale, lift the knee. And let's stay. And let's breathe. Two more breaths. Inhale. And exhale, hands down to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. And then we'll move to the other side. Left leg lifts. Exhale, bring the foot all the way through. Help it forward. Right knee down. Inhale, crescent lunge. Interlace the fingers, hands on the thigh. Good. Right toes are curled under, the toes behind you. Inhale, lift the right knee. And exhale, put it down. Again, hands can be on the floor if you'd like. Right knee lifts. Exhale, place. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. This feels like the last one. Inhale, go ahead and lift the knee. Keep the hips sinking down and forward. Back leg is straight. And we're breathing, hopefully. Try not to clench your jaw here. Sometimes when we start to work out the hips or the core, the jaw just tightens. Soften that. Don't do that. Good. Deep breath in. And exhale, hands down. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, down to the earth. Grounding, lifting up. Locust pose, head, chest, and legs. Inhale. Exhale, release. Curl the toes under, push up and back, downward facing dog. Stay for a breath. Good. And from here, go ahead and walk your hands back to meet your feet, coming into Uttanasana, the standing forward fold. Now allow the knees to be slightly bent here. Relax the upper body over the legs. Release the head, neck, shoulders, arms. And breathe. You can stay right here if you'd like to. Some of you may want to grab opposite elbows, waterfall pose. And some of you may want to interlace your fingers at the lower back and lift the arms off the back. Whichever you prefer. It's okay to go with our preferences sometimes. Preferences aren't bad. We just want to be aware of when they throw us off. When they make us unsteady. Good. One more breath here in this forward fold. And then press palms to shins. Come halfway up. Inhale. Release those arms as they were overhead. Exhale, fold back down. Then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side with a strong back. Come all the way up to standing, reaching the arms overhead. And exhale, bring your palms to your heart. Good. Feeling sensation as you come up. Probably a lot of stuff happening from the waist down, the legs, the hips. You might feel some stuff in the shoulders or the core, the low back. Just notice what's there for you. Now, though we're working with the second chakra, the preference point of the energy centers, sometimes it weaves in with some of the other ideologies of the other chakras. And one that we haven't gotten to yet in our series, but we will, is the third eye, is the center of intuition and higher knowing and knowledge. And so when we start to transcend our preferences, we can hold our experiences without having them to be good or bad, or however we put them on a scale. That's when we start to live without this suffering. When we stop analyzing the world as that over there is really bad, that over there is really good, and I wish I had more of that. Where we can kind of sit with all truths at once. Just a little bit of something for you. So from standing, we're gonna come into a wide leg stance. So however best you can do that in your space, you're gonna have the toes pointing directly forward here, or even pigeon toeing slightly. You don't want them out to the side. This will give you more access to your hamstrings and to your lower back. Right, arms down by your side. Inhale, sweep the arms overhead. With your exhale, hinge at the hips. Fold forward and down over wide legs. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side. Flat back, strong back. Come all the way back up. Reach the arms. Exhale, hinge at the hips again. Folding forward and down. Inhale, take the arms out to the side, come all the way back up. Let's do a few more, really getting strong in this lower back. Sometimes the second chakra is called the sacral chakra, so it's the entire sacrum area of the body, the tailbone, and basically from the waist down. Inhale up, exhale down. Good, and let's do two more. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. And then exhale, fold all the way down, please. Stay in the forward fold for now. Good, good. So with the fingertips or hands on the floor, go ahead and come up halfway, chest parallel to the ground. Now, if that's hard for you here, what you'll do is you'll bring some kind of support underneath your hands. So if you have yoga blocks, you would have yoga blocks underneath your hands to give you lift here. If you don't have yoga blocks, do what you can with what you have in your space, maybe a stack of books or kind of like looking around like what would work. I have a really sturdy Nalgene water bottle. Like this can work sometimes for some support here. So if you need it, bring it to you now. Good. So the chest stays parallel to the ground. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee forward over, just a little bit over the toes. And then go ahead and straighten the right leg. Then exhale, bend the left knee. Inhale, straighten the legs. You might need to widen or narrow your feet. Good. And the chest stays parallel to the ground the entire time. We're inhale, lifting, exhale, sinking. So we're not nose diving. We're not doing this. And we're also not lifting up here. We're not doing this either. The chest and the hips stay on the same even level plane. Now we're going to keep moving from side to side. Exhale in, inhale out. And you can keep the hands on the ground if you'd like. If you want to make this more challenging, which I think some of you do, you're going to bring your hands onto your hips. But keep the chest parallel to the floor. This just engages the core and the low back a lot more. Good. One more time on each side. Right, then left. Then as you straighten the left leg, hands on the ground, fold forward. Good. Inhale, sweep the arms out to the side with a flat back. Come all the way up. And palms to the heart. Okay. All right. So just if you need to step your feet together for a moment, I'm going to demonstrate this next exercise, and I want to make sure that you don't fry out your hips. So this is very similar to what we just did, but there's a little bit more finesse to it. So basically, we're going to be moving moving the hips in a circle in one direction, and then we'll go the other way. So what I mean by that is we'll be back down in this posture, and I'm going to bend my right knee. And then instead of straightening it immediately, I'm just going to bend my left knee and sway my body to the other side. Then I'll straighten the left leg. Then I'll bend the right knee again. And then I'll bend the left knee to pull myself to the left. Then inhale up. So basically, I'm making this circle with my hips. And we'll go in one direction for a bit. And then we'll go the other direction for a bit. Exercises, and that's just the point of the practice. So come back into the wide leg forward fold if you've moved from it, and just fold all the way forward first. Good, good. All right, come halfway up now. Hands or fingertips on the floor or blocks, or whatever prop you're using. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee deeply. Good. Now instead of straightening the right knee immediately, bend your left knee and pull yourself to the left. Then straighten your left leg, come back up. Good. Bend your right knee, bend the left knee, sweep to the left, straighten the left leg, come back up. Right knee bends, bend the left knee, sweep to the side, come back up. Right knee, left knee, straighten the left knee. Right knee, left knee, straighten the left knee. Keep going. Or you can just keep kind of hitting points. Chest and hips stay on the same plane. Let's do one more time in this rotation. Good. Next time you straighten the left leg, go ahead and fold forward. But there is that other way we have to go. You know, we made it all this far. We have to get back to where we started. Come halfway up again. Chest and hips on the same plane. Bend the left knee first this time. And then bend the right knee. Allow that to pull you to the right. Then straighten the right leg. Bend the left knee. Bend the right knee. Sway to the right. Straighten the right leg. Left knee. Right knee bends. Straighten the right knee. Keep going. Left, right, and right. Again, you can make this more fluid. You can just kind of hit the points and keep moving around that triangle or circle. We're kind of doing a triangle, but it can be a circle too. This is not a geometry class. Maybe sacred geometry, but we do what we can here. Let's do a couple more times. There is some sacred geometry to the chakras, but I can only teach so much in an hour and 15-minute class. Maybe one day we'll get more into that. Let's do one more full round, okay? Left, right, then straighten and fold. Okay. So come halfway up, and we're going to transition into downward facing dog. So whichever direction you'd like to turn, go ahead and turn that way, plant the hands and step back. And that's just a transition we did. You can just make your way to down dog if you, that didn't make any sense. Good, inhale into plank pose. Exhale, plank yourself down to the floor. Good, ground the pelvis, come up for locust pose, head, chest, and legs. Exhale, release, curl the toes under, push up and back, downward dog. Let's do that again. Inhale, plank. Exhale to the ground. Lift up, locust. Exhale, release. Curl the toes, pushing up and back. Let's do 3 more, okay? It's good counterposing to the work we've done so far. Exhaling down, locust, and release. Push up and back. 2 more times on your own. Once more. Then pushing up and back. Float down onto hands and knees. And then go back to child's pose for a moment. And take a few deep breaths. Again, just grounding into what you're feeling, what's going on in the body. What is going on in the body? Really getting curious. And not curious in the sense that you're labeling, oh, that feels bad or that feels good, but just having an open inquiry. It doesn't have to be good or bad, it's just sensation. You don't have to write a story about it. Sometimes it just is. Sometimes it just is. All right, go ahead and come up to hands and knees, press back into downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back to meet your feet again. Standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Then inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up to standing. And palms to the heart. Good. It's a little bit up and down today, but we'll be good about it. So that flow, the plank to locust pose, just give kind of your legs a break because we're going to come back into the wide leg forward fold now. We're going to do some deeper work there. Okay, so come back into the wide leg forward fold. You got a break. We're slowly making our way to a frog pose for those of you who know what that is. No need to get trepidatious about it now. We'll be there soon. But before we get there, let's do some more work. So come into the wide leg forward fold. Again, the toes are pointing directly forward here. And bring yourself up halfway. And bring your right hand right underneath your chin. Right hand under your chin. Left arm out to the side, palm facing the floor. Stay here and take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, sweep the left arm into the air, twist. Inhale, come halfway out. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come halfway out. We're going to do 3 more. Exhale, twist. Inhale out. Twist. And out. Last one. Exhale. And stay. And breathe. Good. With your next inhale, carefully unwind, hands to the floor and fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up again. We'll do the other side. Left hand under your chin this time. Right arm out to the side, palm facing the ground. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, sweep the right arm into the air, twist. Inhale, unwind. Exhale, twist. Inhale, unwind. 3 more times. Twist. Good. Once more. And then exhale, twisting into the pose. Go ahead and stay. About 3 breaths total. Good. Inhale, unwind. And fold forward. Come halfway up. Really extend your spine forward. Then exhale, fold just a little bit deeper. It's okay if the knees bend slightly. Good. All right, so bringing yourself up halfway again. That's kind of just our game tonight is chest parallel to the floor. Keeping your chest parallel to the floor, bring your hands onto your ankles or shins. Depends on how long your arms are. Go ahead, take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend both knees, drop down into a deep squat. Hips and chest are on the same plane still. And breathe. Stay here. And no matter what your mind tells you in the next 30-ish seconds, stay in this pose. Don't run when you get the compulsion to do so. That's your fight or flight response. And when you're not in any kind of danger right now, you just might be uncomfortable. And so for those of you who want to be more uncomfortable, you can bring your hands onto your hips. And those of you who are really going for it tonight, you can take your arms out to the side, airplane arms. But keep the chest parallel to the floor. Keep the hips bending, knees bending. About 10-ish more seconds. Try to control your breath here. 3, 2, and 1. Hands to the floor, then straighten the legs, then fold forward. Feel sensation. I don't remember much from my very first yoga class, but I remember that exercise. That one sticks out. It was almost 15 years ago, but it's still fresh in my mind. Good, good. All right, with your next inhale, sweep the arms out to the side, come all the way up, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, bring the palms to your heart. Good job. Working hard tonight, working hard in the hips. And we're gonna work a little bit harder now. We're gonna work with the infamous frog pose. So you can adjust or rest as you need to right now. You can drop down onto your knees, or you can bring the feet together. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you. So we're gonna come down with our knees on your mat. Now, if that's uncomfortable for you, what you'll want to do is take a blanket and unfold it on top of your mat. And your knees might go pretty wide, so you might need, may need to unfold it a little bit. I'm only 5'6", so this actually might do. We'll find out. I've done this before, but still, you got to check. So just demonstrating it for you, I'm going to step off the back side of my yoga mat. So I'm not even on top of it right now, but I'm still in the wide leg stance. From here, I'm going to fold forward and walk my hands off the other side. So I'm just straddling the mat. Good. I'm taking my feet a little bit wider apart here because I know it's coming. And then I'm going to lift my heels, come onto the balls of the feet, and release down, if you can, onto the sides of your knees. The sides of it. So my patella, the kneecap, is not on the ground at all here. Now that depends on how wide you can spread your hips. So if you do have to be on the kneecaps, you definitely want a blanket underneath. Okay, good. And then what's happening behind me is that my feet are releasing down, arch side to the floor, and my heels are just a little bit wider than my knees. They're like frog legs. That's where they get that from. And then from here, hopefully this comes on camera, I'm going to come down onto my forearms, having my elbows just a little bit forward of my shoulders. Now right here, I'm feeling something, but I can feel a little bit more if I just traction my hips backwards a little bit until I hit a wall inside of my body. And you'll know what that means when you get here. And then we're just going to hang out here for a while, okay? So I'll walk you through it. If you're there already, or if you know how to get there, just come into it, but I'll walk you through the steps in case you're new to this practice. So again, standing off the back side or one side of your yoga mat. Feet are wide. Good. And if you know you need a blanket, bring that there. We're going to fold forward over it, hands on the ground. Good. And then lift the heels, release down onto the sides of your knees, and release the inside arch of your feet down onto the floor. Frog legs. Again, the heels are just a hair wider than your knees. And then come down onto your forearms. And then just traction your hips backwards. Just move them back a little bit behind you. Now, like with a lot of the other exercises we've been doing tonight, you want to keep the chest parallel to the floor. Don't collapse here. This just brings you out of the pose. And don't do this either, because this isn't doing anything for you. You want to stay on the forearms. You want to traction the hips back, and you'll hit that wall inside of your body where the hips just won't go any further. And then we're just going to stay here. We're going to stay here a while, okay? You're going to breathe here. So that's the first thing I want you to do, because there's going to be sensation. So I want you to find your breath, that steady inhale, that steady exhale. One way that we can control the mind when it goes into that hyper preferential state, when it's triggered into the sympathetic, when it doesn't need to be, or your fight or flight response when it doesn't need to be, is to regulate your breath. So steady inhale and steady exhale. If you know Ujjayi pranayama, or the audible breath, you could employ that here. That's just a soft constriction of the throat as you breathe, making it audible. Then I'll make a request of you here. It's to challenge yourself, and that is to not come out of the pose when you feel the compulsion to do so. There will be discomfort here for most of us, and I want you to sit with that discomfort. I want you to breathe with that discomfort and know that it is just discomfort. It's not something that you need to run from. That flight isn't necessary here. And not only does that help you to open your hips deeper, or even balance that second chakra, it helps to rewire your brain. Because when you find yourself in uncomfortable situations on the other side of this experience, you'll ask yourself sometimes, is this just discomfort, or is it something that is dangerous? And over time of this practice, you won't run. You won't run when it's just uncomfortable. That won't be your knee-jerk response. Stay with it, breathe with it. Emotion might come up, maybe some sadness or some anger, confusion, or nothing at all. It doesn't have to be emotional. Soften your jaw if you notice it clenching. Get curious. Bring in that curiosity again, not for what is good or bad, right or wrong, but for just what is. Kind of look at it more objectively. I know that when I'm in this posture, that I notice tension in my hips unwinding in waves. There'll be moments of intensity, followed by moments of a little bit less intensity, followed by moments of intensity again. What's true for you? What's there for you? Keep the hips working in their way backwards. Stay for another half minute or so. So if you've done this pose with me before, you know that I like to make this joke that at this point, you really don't know how to come out of the pose, even if you wanted to. So I'll walk you through it, all right? First, you're gonna walk up onto your hands carefully, because you're in here really deep. Good, and then you'll work the feet together behind you. And then carefully walk the knees toward one another, and then immediately come into child's pose. Just fold forward over the legs and extend the arms. And there's still this release happening in your hips, even as you come out of it. So be present to what is there. Hold on to that curiosity. One more breath here. And then go ahead and roll yourself on up. And we'll do the last few exercises of our class tonight on our backs. So just go ahead and roll over. And again, there still might be some unwinding in the hips still as you continue to shift and move. So once you come onto your back, maybe hug the knees into the chest, maybe roll them around a bit. Working with the hips has this inward turning quality to it. Maybe attune to that. Right, all right. So please bring your feet flat to the floor, heels underneath your knees about hip distance apart. Your arms can stay down by your side. We'll go in and out of bridge pose a few times and then we'll hold. So inhale, lift the hips into the air, reach the pelvis toward the ceiling. And exhale, carefully release the hips back down. Inhale, lift the hips up. And exhale, release the hips on down. We'll do 3 more times. Inhale up. And exhale down. Twice more on your own. Good. And then come into the pose one more time and we're going to stay, all right? Pick up the hips. And if you know how to bind to this posture, you can do so. If not, just stay where you're at. And the binding, for those of you who need further clarification, is when you interlace the hands under the body and walk onto the sides of the shoulders. If that's all just confusion to you, don't worry about it. We're going to hold this pose for a little bit tonight, a little longer than we normally do. So keep breathing. Again, when you regulate the breath, you regulate the mind. Keep the hips pressing up. And there's a slight back bend in your upper back, so you feel the chest bowing toward your chin. Make sure there's no clenching in the throat, no clenching in the jaw. Relax the eyes. About 15 more seconds. Stay up. Even when it's uncomfortable, stay up. Push up to your highest point with this next inhalation. And then exhale carefully, slowly release down onto your back. Take your time getting there. Feeling all the feels. Good. And then from here, walk your feet away from your hips about 6 inches. And then take your feet as wide apart as your yoga mat. And in this next exercise, keep the feet mat width apart. Your arms can relax out to the side. With your inhalation, go ahead and drop the knees to the right. Exhale, ground your lower back to the floor to bring the knees back to center. And then inhale, take the knees to the left. Exhale, ground the lower back to the floor, bring the knees back to center. And then inhale to the right. Exhale back. Inhale to the left. And exhale back. Let's keep going from side to side a few more times. Inhaling to a side. And exhaling to center. Now, if you'd like to, you can turn the chin away from the knees. So if the knees go to the left, the chin can go to the right. Inhaling to a side, exhaling to center. One more time. And as your knees go to the right this time, go ahead and stay. The chin can turn to the left if you want. And I'll give you an option to go deeper into this pose. If you get there and realize you don't want to go there, you don't have to. But if you'd like to, your right ankle, it's the one on the bottom, the right ankle can rest gently on top of the left knee. So you're just weighing down that thigh. It's like it's trying to pull the thigh bone out of the hip socket, which is a good thing in this case. We're not actually pulling it out, we're just tractioning that joint. Deep breaths. Good. So if you do have the ankle on top of the knee, go ahead and release that. Come back to center, and we'll do the other side when you're ready. So this time will be knees to the left. And if you're working with the chin, chin to the right. And again, it's completely fine just to stay here. But if you want to deepen into the posture, you can take the left ankle this time, one on the bottom, and place it on top of the right knee. Again, tractioning that thigh forward and down. Again, like you're trying to pull the thigh bone out of the hip socket a little bit, just to traction it, not to detach it. Deep breaths. One more breath here. And then if your ankle is on top of the knee, go ahead and release. Come back to center and hug your knees in toward your chest, that is. Good. And keep the knees drawn in. Take your arms out to the side, making a T shape of the body, or you can do cactus arms if there's not a lot of space around you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, drop the knees to your right side. Just a little bit more of a twist than what we just did. Now, as the knees drop to the right, turn your chin to the left and ground the left shoulder as much as you can. Your right hand can rest gently on top of the left thigh or knee. Deep breaths. Good. With your next inhale, bring the knees back to center and just take your time as you take them to the left. And as the knees go to the left, ground your right shoulder, chin can turn to the right, and the left hand can rest gently on top of the right thigh or knee. And again, just breathe, being present with sensation. All right, inhale, bring the knees back to center. Hug them in. So two more postures. We're gonna do happy baby pose next. Take the feet toward the ceiling. Go ahead and reach up and grab the pinky edge of each foot with its own hand. The knees are going wide of your armpits. So the heels are still pointing toward the sky, and just pull the knees toward the floor outside of your arms, or armpits, I should say. Good. Now this alone, you'll probably feel a little bit in the hips or maybe the low back. But if you want to take it just a dial up or two, think about curling your lower back and tailbone back down to the floor as you pull the feet downward. Two more breaths. Good. All right. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together. And keeping the soles of the feet together, release the pinky edge down to the floor, allowing the knees to fall out wide. Reclined butterfly. Just stay here and breathe. Noticing sensation, especially in our hips, right around that second energy center, Swadhisthana. You could even picture again that ball of orange light right at that center, right off the tip of the tailbone. Taking a deep breath in and out. Go ahead and extend your legs all the way down to the floor. Heels are about mat width apart, nice and wide apart. Toes falling outward. This allows the hips to relax completely. Arms resting out to your sides, palms toward the sky. And make any other final adjustments to rest comfortably here in Shavasana. And as you settle in, again, be aware of sensation in your body. And it's our natural response with the way that our minds are wired to qualify what we witness. That's bad, that's good, that's comfortable, that's uncomfortable. You don't have to do that right now. You just notice what is like, oh, there's sensation in my hips right now. It's just sensation. Objectively, it's just sensation. And any other sensation that you witness, just see it as that. There might be a lot of it, there might not be a lot of it, but you don't have to qualify what you see. And what you may find as you're just aware of it is that any tension that is present starts to relax a bit. There's not the mental hold on it. And eventually, resting your mind in that ball of orange light at the tip of your tailbone, Swadhisthana, center of preference, now harmonious, now in balance. Peace, peace, peace. When take a deeper, fuller breath, make some gentle movements in your hands and feet, your arms and legs. And when you're ready, roll to your right side. Bring yourself on up to a seat. So sitting comfortably, crown of the head lifting toward the ceiling, shoulders relaxed. Taking a deep breath in and out, bring your awareness to Swadhisthana, that orange light pulsing at the tip of the tailbone, and do see it pulsing. And begin to match the pulsing that you see with the bija mantra or seed sound of this chakra, which is VAM, V-A-M, VAM, 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 VAM. Continue to hear it. Orange light pulsing and the sound of VAM. You see that orange light become bigger and brighter, more potent, creating this sense of balance when it comes to preference or any other description of this energy center, where whether it's a balance of creativity or sensuality, the delight of your senses, rejuvenation, it's a center for all of that. What might become clear as we have balanced this energy center, or worked toward balancing it, is that in the relationship to preference, that we have a choice in how we can view the world, how we can view our lives. While there are some hard facts that are present there when it comes to things like safety, first chakra, a lot of it has to do with our own perceptions. So one core precept of yoga is that every thought is a choice. So you get to choose here. You get to choose here in how you view the world. You go with the preference of comfort, or you choose to go with that the world is uncomfortable. Doesn't mean bad things aren't happening, but your preference is yours. Your choice is yours. So maybe you feel a little clearer around that now. So hearing the mantra fade, but keeping connected to that orange light, take a deeper, fuller breath. Bring your palms to your heart, bow the chin, just honoring that center of preference. Swadhisthana, such an important center. And may all of your work here tonight to bring that into balance, to bring that into just awareness, may all of that and this practice continue to serve you. So until we meet again, namaste.